Yara is a beautiful place, isn't it? So Far Cry 6 came out recently, and it's fun. Like, really fun. I couldn't tell you the last time I had this much joy just messing around with a friend in a well-made campaign. The story is thrilling, the co-op is chaotic, and the beautiful graphics are as stunning as they are saturated. Saturated, just like the Far Cry series. You see, a new Far Cry game comes out every 2 years. That is crazy. So, when Ubisoft decides to make another Far Cry game, it's more or less a similar product to the last one. Ubisoft constantly releases a similar game with very little changes in gameplay each time. It's getting frustrating to people who want something new in the series, but for avid players who can't get enough of the mechanics Far Cry has to offer, it's great. Each game builds on the last one in slight ways, mostly by throwing in random mechanics and hoping they work. If they don't, no problem, they'll be gone by the next one. I like to think of it as a scientific formula, with the devoted scientists tweaking the ingredients for more optimization in each trial. Only thing is, it's not a science experiment, it's a game, and that's not a scientist, it's a Ubisoft employee. So yeah, there's that. As a result of all this tweaking, the games are constantly better for it. There's no doubt that Far Cry 6 is some of the best gameplay of any Far Cry game to date, but at the same time, it's virtually no different than the games before it. To put this into context, think of a series like Zelda. In 2011, Nintendo released The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, but they felt something was missing. Nintendo took some time to reflect on what makes a Zelda game fun, why people love the series in the first place. Then, in 2017, Nintendo dropped Breath of the Wild, and holy guacamole, this sequel is amazing. The Legend of Zelda had been completely overhauled, and Breath of the Wild showed it. If you could think it, you could do it. An innovation in the series and the company that made it, Breath of the Wild is a sequel done right. Now, let's look at the difference between Far Cry 5 and Far Cry 6. In Far Cry 5, alongside your companions, you capture outposts to save certain regions of a cultist-controlled valley, taking out each lesser villain before eventually moving on to the big bad. Alright, pretty solid. But in Far Cry 6, and get this, alongside your animal companions, you capture outposts to save certain regions of a military-seized country, taking out each lesser villain before eventually moving on to the big bad. Notice a trend here? You just swap some words out for the other and you have a new game. Far Cry 6 is a mechanically well-made shooter, but there's two major issues. One, there's not nearly enough gameplay difference between Far Cry games. A Far Cry game is, in fact, a Far Cry game, and you can tell that the second you start playing. And two, it's made by quite possibly the scummiest gaming company to ever exist. Okay, maybe not the scummiest, but still. Ubisoft. Let's talk about it. Ubisoft is a game company known second for its games and first for its exploitative marketing strategy. Ubisoft's two games, Assassin's Creed and Far Cry, are so well known, in fact, that the majority of their profits come from re-releasing them every year. This is because Ubisoft found a winning formula. Ubisoft's repetitive formula is present in almost all of their games. Ubisoft won't take chances with their changing gameplay formula because it would be too risky. The chance that they take to shake up gameplay or implement actually fun mechanics is not worth it to them. They'd rather do the bare minimum, reducing their games to Far Cry but X, Far Cry but Pirates, Far Cry but Civil War, Far Cry but Cultists. And since they can do that, they do. For what it's worth, Far Cry 6 is an enjoyable game. Anyone who's new to the series will have a blast, and even as a returning player, I preferred it to some of the other games. While the gameplay is practically unchanged, each Far Cry game delivers a powerful story. Far Cry 6 follows your adventure as Danny. You're a Yaran citizen who had their home taken from them in the military seizing of Esperanza, the capital of the fictional country Yara. Anton Castillo, the resident dictator, doesn't like your survival, so he shoots a hole in your planned escape boat. Moments later, you wake up to find yourself chipwrecked. Eventually, you join a rebel organization called Libertad, and you get ready to take down Castillo and his army. I personally really enjoy this story. It's just a shame it's not really reflected in the gameplay. I mean, think about it, you're taking down an army, not a ragtag band of pirates or cultists. This is a whole militia, yet their AI is worse than ever. Guards will just do nothing or hardly even attack you while playing on the hardest difficulty. I can't even believe there's an option for easy mode, because the AI is so bad you can clear outposts in seconds. Outposts, by the way, are virtually unchanged. There is, however, a new gimmick. Type of outpost, in the form of road checkpoints. But that's just Ubisoft's excuse to act like something's different this time around. Outposts are the most overused part of a Far Cry game. It's almost like Ubisoft doesn't know how to make an open world game that doesn't use the outpost system. They're done to death, and while outposts are spread thinner than in previous games, Ubisoft just threw in a million road checkpoints instead. Filling your open world with hundreds of pointless objectives doesn't suddenly make it good. Adding repetitive content and filler doesn't enhance your campaign, it just adds repetitive content and filler. What makes an open world developed is its quests, its story, its characters, which thankfully Far Cry 6 has a decent amount of. Yara is divided into 3 different regions, each of them with locals that you can recruit to your cause, and around 15 unique quests or operations per region. For what it's worth, I think that these operations are all pretty solid. They generally do a great job at handling the characters, and what's this? Gameplay that doesn't revolve around taking outposts? What? There's this one where you steal a zebra, or zebra, you know, don't fight me. One where you blow up a massive statue of Anton Castillo. Hell, there's 2 quests where you just follow this puppy as it digs up free stuff for you. These operations are really fun. The writing and voice acting joined with the new third-person cutscenes provide a reason to care about the story, something that I felt was missing from the previous Far Cry games. Speaking of things missing from the last games, Anton Castillo is actually a menacing villain with motives and an actual goal. Compared to Joseph Seed, who feels like an overly religious fanatic with too much time on his hands, Anton's actually a threat? I'm not saying that these last few games didn't have fun missions, but I feel as a whole, Far Cry 6's mission structure and writing just works a lot better than it did for the last couple of games. Possibly one of the biggest feats for the series, though, is the implementation of resolver weapons. Built from scraps in someone's workshop, these weapons know how to pack a punch. Far Cry has made it fun to use weapons again. In Far Cry 5, I found that using any weapon outside my default loadout was a chore. In a game with as many weapons as Far Cry 5 had, it was amazing that Ubisoft found a way to make them all boring. Now, enter Far Cry 6. You have crazy weapons like an oversized taser, a flamethrower, and even the DMCA takedown cannon. For once, I actually felt limited by the weapon inventory space of 4. There's so many different weapons that you can use in so many different scenarios, it's just insane. Why strap a C4 to your friend's head when you can blast him with 500 fireworks instead? At one point, I even had to ditch my RPG so I could hold more of the resolver type weapons, because who wouldn't want to have more of these things? Luckily though, I still have my Supremo to blow things up. Because yes, Far Cry 6 is going full Overwatch with an ultimate ability. That's right, Overwatch is the only game that can ever do one of those. Nice joke me. Supremos are essentially backpacks that can let you see through walls, heal yourself, or inject 50 milligrams of steroids right into your bloodstream. They're all great ideas, but some of them are greater ideas. The only Supremos I'd suggest late game are X-Ray and Auto Revive. Far Cry 6 feels a bit like a reimagining of Far Cry 3, but with more quality of life features. It includes most of the features that fans love from 3, such as the custom healing animations and actually competent writing, yet it shines them with a new coat of polish and they're better than ever. Far Cry 6 takes a step back from the, let's just say, interesting gameplay of 5, and brings us a game that's not only fun, but good as well. It's not enjoyable just because of the crazy co-op shenanigans Far Cry can deliver, but it's actually got a decent story to boot. It's not perfect, some characters almost remind me of Herc. Ugh. But Far Cry 6 gives you a reason to care. Put simply, it's just a really good blend of every Far Cry game to date. But that might just be the problem. It's every Far Cry game to date. This isn't gonna change your life, but it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's chaotic, crazy, and a fun time. After all, it's Far Cry. And if you're looking for a fun single player or co-op shooter, this might just be the one for you. Or, you know, if corrupt dictators aren't your thing, maybe try taking down pirates in Far Cry 3. I know that one's pretty good. No, Far Cry 4 might be better. It's still kind of got a bit of a dictator plot, but this time it's in the Himalayas, so that's nice. Or if cultists are your thing, actually don't buy Far Cry 5. I haven't heard of any other cultist games, but you really shouldn't play this one for the story. Hey, thanks for watching the video. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. That's always greatly appreciated. I also want to thank my friend George for helping me record a lot of the footage you're seeing in this video, as well as helping me touch up my script. And yeah, he's been a great help, so thank you very much, George. And also, I wanted to give a little bit of an update to anyone who's interested on why there hasn't been any uploads lately. Honestly, it's just because I've got a lot of stuff going on in my personal life right now that I need to sort out before I can go back to uploading once every 2 weeks. I would say full-time, but I don't feel like an upload every 2 weeks can be considered full-time. But yeah, so that's where I'm at right now. I'm working on a video, so stay tuned for that. But until then, I'll see you next time, where I eat a lot of ice cream using a comically large spoon. Yep. Alright, see ya.